Alrighty, welcome back. Let's get back to it. Next to last video, I think. I'm looking around for bugs. As we're jumping back into this, we have some more properties to put in here. We do need the paths collection, which are UI elements, basically the basis of controls, windows, and everything else. This is the element that the commit canvas will be displaying. They will always be paths at present. Like I said, later on we can add ellipses, rectangles, all the other shapes. But in our case, they'll be the curves or lines. Right now, we need to build our canvas and we need to draw our handles. Let's do draw handles first. See, sometimes when you robotically type in code from another sheet and you miss a line, I missed a line. I think actually draw segment handles is a little bit longer than build canvas. So we are getting a part, or trying to get the path part, the segment part, that has a starting index of this vertex. And if it exists, then we're going to draw it, especially if it's a bezier, we're going to draw the handles. This is really not good, because it could be null. But it's good for us right now. I need to include the namespace. Transparent fill. We're just drawing our lines. So we just want stroke. They will only have 2 points, but that's fine. We'll make the line red. We should make that customizable. Make our lines, our ellipses for our vertices, make them all have their custom colors customizable also. Make the background of our canvas customizable. I didn't do a lot of this because if this project continues, it's going over to Win2D, or it's going to the web view. And in WPF, I don't think I'm going to take it much farther. In the Windows App SDK, in the UWP, it has the greatest potential. And the Windows App SDK is just too similar to WPF on the desktop applications. Windows App SDK just is basically, can be either desktop applications or it can be UWP Windows Store applications. They have the desktop version out there, no longer in experimental. They call it experimental instead of beta. Like that's so silly, but they have the desktop version, which is the version to replace WPF, They're not getting rid of WPF, but they're hoping that it just goes away. Normally, I think that they're full of it, but in this case, Windows App SDK does shine. So we're always going to put an ellipse for every one of our vertices, not just when it's a curve. I can just feel that I'm missing some things. Getting a little stuffy. So we're going to clear the variable and not the actual property. If we clear the property, it will actually cause the front end to refresh the binding, which will slow things down. So we're going to clear the variable. And at the end of this, we will tell it to refresh the variable. We'll call the onPropertyChanged from this method. Just like we set the property, which is exactly what we're doing. We're setting the property. And that will cause the front end to the canvas to bind to all these UI elements that we're creating. I think it's going to be a few weeks before I get back to the UWP version to finish it. Doing almost the exact same thing 3 different times is boring. It's tedious. That's the proper word to use. Not boring, but tedious. We have to, in WPF, we have to set the hit test visible for each one of these paths in ellipses to false. Because if we don't, it won't work. So in Windows App SDK, they're by default set to false. And I believe UWP. But here in WPF, they're by default set to true. So we have to say no, turn them off. Or we'll never have a mouse down on our canvas. Of course, we could convert all of we could add events to all of the paths, but that's just too much. Just turn is hit test visible to false. So we've started our path and we've given it the first point in its segment, the first vertex. Now we'll loop through the children and add their points to the shape, to the path figure. If it's not a curve, of course it's easiest. Whatever your start index is, +1. It's bad when your code confuses you. 1 second. Okay. So we're going to add a new line segment. And we're using the vector 2 so we can add manipulation easier later on. Could use points. But there's more built-in functionality for the numeric vector 2 than there is in the point. You can't really get a normal with a point. You have to make a custom function. getting the normalizing a point isn't that hard, but why when it's already available? I have my own vector class with normalization and mid part and all kind of things, but if I'm not using them, I don't really care to bring them in. In my 3D version of this application, I do use my own stuff. So since this is a Bezier segment, it will have 3 points by default. We're almost to testing. And after I finish this video, I'm going to go look for bugs or typos. Although we're closing the segment ourselves, we're going to go ahead and mark it as closed if it is closed. It's kind of redundant. If it is closed, mark it as closed. And if it shows the handles, if the layer is selected, then we'll show the handles for all of the segments under a layer. Although we can only edit segments right now, so this actually won't allow us to edit the handles. It's just a baby application right now. I'm just going to simply pass it in if it's a segment. We'll just say draw this one. Now the on property change, get your paths. Alright, if you got something out of this, like and subscribe so there will be more, so I know you're interested. Afterwards, after the next project, it would be just playing around with it. All glory be to God, and I will see you in the next video, the last one for this tutorial.